is the most famous drummer in the history of the world. You know him from the bands Rory Storm and the Hurricanes and the Beatles. His new book is called Lifted. It is on sale exclusively at juliansauctions.com. Please welcome Ringo Starr. It's great to have you here. And we're all excited. And we don't get excited much, but we do get excited when you're here. And thank you for coming back, because the last time you were here wasn't so long ago, but I felt like I just didn't get enough.
It feels like it was last week.
It does feel like it was last week. It was actually September.
And I'm still tired.
I tend to be exhausting, yes. Yeah. Since the last time you were here, over, I think, Thanksgiving weekend, the documentary Get Back came out about the Beatles, and it was just absolutely great. I'm sure you liked it even better than I did, but I loved it.
And it did really good.
It felt like everybody I know saw that. Everybody. Did you feel like that too? I imagine you really felt like that.
Everyone in our house saw it.
Yeah, for sure. What are people asking you about the most? Like, is there a moment in the documentary that people are bringing up to you more frequently than others?
No, I think the general question is how great it was.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? They'd say, and, you know, because we started with nothing. And then we ended up on the roof. I love that we went to the roof, because it's always with the Beatles. We're going to India, we're going to Everest, we're going here, sod it, let's just go on the roof. And that's what we did. You know, and just backtracking, Abbey Road was another, let's go to the Alps, let's go to India, let's go, well, just walk across the road.
Yeah.
And, you know, it worked every time.
Oh, yeah, you don't need... There was a moment, I think there were a couple moments. There was one moment I'm remembering in particular where Paul was playing the piano and singing, and you were just watching him. And you said something like, why do we even need to we could just watch him do this. And you were so captivated by his genius.
Oh, I am always captivated by Paul's genius.
I loved seeing that. It really was something, especially
I hit some moment and go, oh.
Yeah, right. But it is an oh moment, because you guys have been together for a while. You've been friends. You know, it seemed like for a lot of people that wears off quickly. And obviously it didn't. It reminds me of the way Guillermo looks at me, I have to say, in a lot of ways.
I got to tell you, though, he was looking at me like that in the bathroom.
I told you to stay out of the guest bathroom, Guillermo, please.
Sorry.
We have a postcard this is a postcard that Paul sent to you. On, it was the day, it arrived the day after that concert on the rooftop, January 31st. 1969, he wrote, "You are the greatest drummer in the world, really." Ringo.
I was a bit let down it came so late.
That's a very sweet thing to say.
He's a beautiful guy.
He is. You know, he sent me, he was on the show, and he sent me a postcard, and, you know, I hadn't shared it. It said, "Please stay out of my yard. I will call the police." Yes. Really, but, and I mean, not the same sentiment, but still it was nice of him to send.
He's a good guy.
We also got to see you and George writing your song, Octopus's Garden. And that was... How did the idea of a gardening octopus or an octopus being down there?
Because on the White Album, I left the band. And I left the band because I didn't think I was being part of it, and I was playing great, and... You know, I always was that guy. I went and knocked at John's door. And I said, man, you know, I feel you three are so close, you know, and I'm out of it. And he goes, I thought it was you three. And then I went to Paul's, and I said, hi, man, you know, I've got to tell you, I feel like I'm, you know, not part of the band, and I'm not playing good. And he said, you know, it's you three are really close. He says, I thought it was you three. So I flew to Sardinia. I thought, I'm getting out of here. I went to Sardinia, and, you know, I worked with Peter Sellers, and his boat was there. And so he lent us his boat to in those days, Maureen and two of my kids. And two things happened. One was the nanny we had with us was carrying Jason, who was a little kid. And we were just climbing over rocks and that, and then she stopped. And she said, "Take the baby." "What? Take the baby?" She said, "Take the baby." So I took my son, and I said, "Well, what's going on?" And there was an octopus wrapped around the leg. You know, I mean, I would have thrown that kid a mile. You know? Yeah. So take the baby. But also, then we went and had lunch on Pete's boat, and we had some fish and chips, you know, we're from Liverpool, and they gave us, what the hell's this? It was octopus and chips.
Was it the one from her leg?
No. Oh. Well, I don't think so. And anyway, we finished the lunch, and in those days, you know, it was like, you know, there was freedom when you were in Sardinia to smoke dope. And I got into a really great mood, and the weather was great. And I was just on the deck, and the captain came out, and, you know, he realized we didn't want his octopus. He said, "You know what octopus do? They find on the ocean bed pretty rocks and tins, actually, that'd been thrown from other boats, and they put like a garden around them. Well, when you're stoned, that's the best idea I've ever heard in my life." I go, "What?" Yeah. And so I did start it because I had my guitar there and I played 3 chords, so everything's in 3 chords. There's another bit of footage that I don't think was in that, where George was like hanging about, and I'm going, "I'd like to be G." And F demented, whatever he said. You know, I can only play in C. And, you know, that was just a really cool bit for me.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that's how it ended up being Octopus Garden. Like, at that moment, I would love to be under the sea with an octopus. Yeah.
Now, this is a photo that you posted on Sunday on Twitter, and that's you and your wife, Barbara, and her sister, Marjorie, and your brother-in-law, Joe Walsh, all supporting the Rams.
Yeah.
Do you watch NFL football?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
The Rams are your team?
In L.A.
In L.A. I see.
Now, it came to a point with the Chargers and you had to pick one. I'm from Liverpool, where you have Liverpool and Everton, and the city is divided for one team or the other. And so my big team is Dallas.
The Cowboys, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And in the middle of the 70s, I came into L.A. and I was staying a while. And I went over to some guy's house, and Dallas was playing, and, you know, I picked a team.
Yeah, in the 70s, you either rooted for the Cowboys or the Steelers, unless you happen to live in...
because I'm English, I rooted for the Cowboys, and my next team was the Steelers.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that. No, yeah. Well, we forgive you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. You,
I actually was so involved with Dallas, the team, and the girls.
and the cheerleaders, yeah.
And I went to Dallas to buy a house.
Really? Because of the Cowboys?
We got a plane, we flew there, my friend and I. We looked at houses, we went shopping, we bought a pair of boots, and we got back on the plane.
Ringo Starr is with us. His book is called Lifted. We'll be right back.
We need an audience of some sort, either a surprise audience like we might get tomorrow, or a
We've got to get. I just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you.
I was going to sit here silent, listen to you. So, no, I'll tell you about it.
That's the thing about these guys. No matter what was going on, always making music from wherever it may come.
Yeah, but the thing with that was we learned that when we were in a band, when we started out, and, you know, if anybody let a silent one go, they would try and get away with it. And it caused terrible trouble. I mean, wasn't it? It was you. You know, I mean, it came to
People think
fisticuffs
Yoko
sometime.
divided the band, and in fact, it was just gas. Yeah.
So anyway, we realized, okay, it was me. Or it was him. It doesn't matter, but you just said it and everything calmed down.
Who was the gassiest Beatle?
Paul.
Paul. This book is...
I gotta say that because the other two aren't with us.
This book is so much fun to read. The pictures and the stories, and it's very funny. You wrote it with the great David Wilde, a great writer. And can we put a couple of these photographs up on this screen? Because I do want to ask you about some of these photos. Now, where are you in this shot? Do you remember?
No idea.
You're in bed, and one of the things I thought was interesting that you wrote is that you guys, even when you're hugely popular and on tour, you only had 2 bedrooms, so you'd be 2 in a room.
Yeah.
And you travel in the car together. How long did that go on the whole time you toured?
From the day I joined.
From the day you joined?
Yeah, it was like that. As soon as we started going around, Europe first, and even Scotland if we had to stay over. But usually if it was in Britain, that night we'd drive home.
You'd drive right home?
Didn't matter if it's 200-300 miles, we'd drive home. But when we started going out, we only ever had 2 suites, and we shared all the time.
Were there situations where they didn't have 2 beds, so you had to be in the same bed?
Well, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. Let's take another look at another photograph from the book. There you are on the roof.
On the roof, baby.
Up on the roof. What do you remember about this? What was happening?
This was great. It was cold and it was raining, but we played together. We were playing live. I mean, we hadn't done that in years. We'd been in the studio and played that way together, but just...
that jacket, that red jacket, whose jacket was that?
Maureen's.
That was your wife Maureen's jacket?
Yeah, I tried not to get wet.
Yeah. We have another photograph here. There's you and George. Wow, look at that.
That's before I was in the Beatles. That's when I was with Rory. And we were just getting to know each other.
Yeah. And I think we have one more here. This is...
Yeah, keep off the grass. In those days, that was really humorous.
Who was the most fun stoned of the 4 of you?
How would I know?
You're about to get the All-Starr Band back together. You're gonna
thank
go
you,
on
Lord.
tour.
I mean, thank you.
In May, you're going on tour.
I mean, the last 2 years, I had 4 tours set up, and we didn't make any of them because of the pandemic. And so this year we're saying yes to May and June, and all being well, things will be cool.
Who's going to be in the band with you?
Well, it's all the same band that was with me in 2019.
Okay.
And I've now brought Edgar Winter back.
Oh, wow.
You want to rock and roll? He's so great.
That's
you should have
all
him
right.
on here, because he's great.
Well, we would love to have him on here. Yeah.
So Steve Lukather on guitar. I've got Colin Hay, Hamish on bass. The other drummer is, what's his face? Oh, thank you.
Greg Filling?
The drummer's telling me who my drummer is. It's Greg Bissonette, and we have a lot of fun, and he's really... I have Greg for the last 200 years, it seems.
Yeah, you'd think you'd remember his name. Yeah. But when you're Ringo, there's only one drummer.
I understand that, you see, 'cause many a night on my left is... On my left...
Will you and Greg share a room?
No.
No, okay.
No, those days are gone.
Those are totally gone.
Yeah.
I love that you love going out and playing.
I love playing. That was the start of my life, to play.
So many legends, and you are a legend in rock and roll, when they'll come to the show, sometimes they're not so excited about playing or whatever, but I know you love to go play. Paul, when he was here, we asked him to do, I think, 3 songs.
Yeah.
He did 17 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just one of the great nights of my life. I mean, it was unbelievably great, and he loved it, and he was just so into it. And maybe that's part of it. I mean, maybe when you have this powerful magic that you guys have.
You know, you have to understand, and everybody does, that when we were playing in Liverpool, we were playing. And no one ended up, you know, thinking, oh, in 20 years I'll be living in LA or whatever, you know what I mean? America was like the place to be. We just played because we loved to play, and they gave, you know, we were getting gigs, and then we were getting more gigs, and then we got quite well known, you know, and then we went to Amsterdam, and we got known there, and Denmark and Spain, you know. We have to build it up.
Yeah,
and
I know.
the maddest thing of all is we come in from Sweden, and there's all kids on the airport at Heathrow, and we didn't even know him. Ed Sullivan arrives from New York, and he doesn't know us either. So they just sees the reaction we were getting and books us to come to New York, come to America. So, you know, you can't plan that.
No, you can't.
It's like mad.
I did read in your book, you said, you told that story in the book, but you said, I'm not sure that that actually happened, but I think it happened, right?
Oh, that sounds like David. No, that's what happened. I mean, coming to America was so huge for us.
Well, we're really happy to have you.
Yeah.
And I think I speak for all of us.
Yeah.
And this book, all the proceeds go to charity, to your charity.
Goes to the Lotus Foundation.
The Lotus Foundation. It's called Lifted. It is on sale exclusively at juliansauctions.com. The great Ringo Starr, everybody. We'll be back with Shaun White. Congratulations on making it to the end of a YouTube video. Why not celebrate by clicking the subscribe button? You earned it.